Mind if I take a seat with you? Hey, can I sit? Let's hang out, huh? Shall we hang out? Good morning. Good morning, folks. So this is a compilation video with a few other up-and-coming homesteading channels. And today we are answering the question, why do we homestead?
Good boys, come on. Good boys, come on.
And I mean, especially for us, it's kind of a loaded question because we don't really own any land. So why do we do it? Why do we get up really early in the morning to feed a whole bunch of animals? Why do we, till up the land and plant a whole bunch of seeds? We have a whole 3 times the space to plant. When at any time things could change and we don't have it anymore. Well, the answer to that is because we can. We've been living here in the Fraser Valley this is our 4th year now, and before this, I mean, we were both kind of vagabonds, living out of a vehicle or out of a tent or a backpack. For myself especially, I mean, having a hobby farm and growing food and having animals and everything like that, it's always been a lifelong dream. And given my former lifestyle, it, wasn't always something that seemed like a possibility. So, I mean, a lot of the big reasons why a lot of us homesteaders do the thing is because, I mean, food quality for one. The things that you pull out of your own garden and out of your own yard are far superior than what you would get at a grocery store. Whatever's mass-produced and, grown with chemical fertilizers and all that. Well, we don't do that here. Everything that we grow is organic, so to speak. I mean, we're not certified organic, but we only use, natural fertilizers from our own animals that we compost and plant everything in our soil here at home. The taste of pulling a carrot out of the ground that you planted and grew yourself, it tastes so much better than the ones you get at the grocery store.
Those tonight.
Whoa, they're huge. I can't even grab them.
That's okay.
Wow, nice. Food security is definitely another one. I mean, we're not the only ones that have gone through this whole pandemic thing. We're all in it together. And one thing that we noticed about being here during this situation is that we're probably not as worried about food. And that's because we know that, in a week or two, a lot of these crops are going to be ready. We do have a lot of food in storage. A lot of it is from our garden from last year. Look at those beautiful things. It's such a good feeling when you know you can just go out into the yard and pull something out of the garden to eat. You don't have to go hungry. We don't really have to go to the grocery store. We do because there's things there that we don't produce, like grains and oil and sugar and things like that. But really, if we needed to survive and if it was a matter of survival, we don't really have to go anywhere. One of the biggest reasons for me myself is definitely for my health and for happiness, and those two things go hand in hand for sure. I mean, if you know me personally, then you know that I'm going through, some health issues, and even besides the whole pandemic thing, I have been off work for a couple months here, and the purpose of that is to heal. I feel like I have successfully done a lot more healing here on the farm than I probably would in the city. Hey boys, you boys make me happy? You guys my happies? You're so good. So sweet. Oh, my sweet boys. Yeah, my sweet boys. And then there's the whole learning aspect. I mean, there's only so much that you can learn from a book. I have all kinds of books about, hobby farming, permaculture, all that sort of thing, and it's really hard to learn something like that unless you're doing it hands-on, on your own, making your own mistakes. That's the best way to learn. And I mean, this is definitely a great way to do that, is to actually just do it. I mean, we're not professionals. We didn't really know anything about, keeping rabbits. you know, or owning goats. I definitely never had goats before. I love having fresh eggs. In fact, I didn't ever think that I was able to eat eggs. I thought I was allergic to them because every time I ate them I got, you know, kind of sick and didn't feel right until I moved out here and I tried some eggs from one of the neighbors and, well, I could eat them. And then I was inspired to get chickens, and now we'll never go back. And then, I mean, there's the pigs. I didn't think we would ever have pigs. I thought that pigs would be too difficult for us. I mean, I've only heard crazy things about having pigs and pigs escaping and, you know, not being very easy to wrangle like our goats that are well trained. But as it turns out, pigs are actually pretty chill. We live in a place where there are several older retired farmers and homesteaders that still have the land, but they don't have the energy to put into it. They just don't have the means anymore to work the land, to raise the animals, to do all the work and the building and the maintenance and everything that goes into homesteading. And, well, we have the energy and we have the resources and everything like that. We just don't have the land. So what we've done is we've partnered up with our neighbors and with our friends up the hill, and we have found a way that we can homestead without owning any land, and that the landowners can benefit as well from us doing what we do. Well, unbelievably, somebody laid an egg, even though it's a little bit snowy in the bottom of their coop. Hi, my girl, is this you? Is this you? So not having a whole lot of money, we've had to obviously learn to be resourceful. Here's the potatoes. You know, we've made some arrangements with some of the job sites to collect, you know, lumber, off-cut lumber and things like that they're no longer going to use, and we found a lot of things for free on Craigslist. Most of our machines are refurbished because we got them really, really cheap or free. Because, you know, the previous owners either got new ones or they just couldn't get them running anymore. So we haven't really spent a whole lot of money, and we have definitely done a lot with a little bit. And in doing so, we have been able to feed not only ourselves, but also our community. I mean, even the first year that we were here, our rental space is only 1/10 of an acre, and we were able to pull out more than 1 ton of food in our first year. And there's no amount of, you know, preserving or freezing or whatever that we could possibly do to keep that whole entire ton of food to ourselves. So we did share a lot of it with our neighbors. And that's actually how we got to know a lot of our neighbors, because, you know, they'd see us working in the garden and they'd pull over to take a look, and we'd walk up to their vehicle, you know, with a fistful of carrots and some beets and, you know, maybe a carton of eggs, and wouldn't you know it, I mean, we all get to eat. In our second year being out here, we expanded our circle outwards a little bit more, and we started taking over the edge of our neighbor's property, and that's when we got animals. And we really wouldn't have been able to have animals if it wasn't for our amazing neighbors. We're very lucky to be able to share the abundance with them. They're always welcome to our garden, and we always have a carton of eggs on reserve just for them. And it feels good to be able to share that, you know. This spot that I'm sitting in right now, where the goats and the chickens and the rabbits are, this was just a big wall of invasive bramble, and for the first year we cut it back 2 or 3 times and it just kept coming back. So we figured, you know, why not put animals on it? And we did, and guess what? No more bramble. Another one of the big reasons why I think a lot of us do what we do is because it definitely forges a connection with the land. And I mean, that's whether or not you own it. We obviously we don't own any of this land, and we don't own any of the land that we farmed in previous years, and we don't own the land up the hill that we're starting to build on right now. But that doesn't matter. I mean, it's not on paper, but you know, it's the connection that we're making with the land that really matters. For instance, last year we were farming up the road on a 5-acre parcel that friends of ours were renting, and we started there in the early spring, and then by the middle of August we found out you know, that we couldn't be there anymore. We had set up the barn to have pigs, and we had Pinky there who had babies, and that was really amazing. And we had a 1/4 acre of food growing that many of our friends and neighbors were welcome to pick from. And it was just an amazing feeling. I mean, even when we found out that we had to leave, there wasn't really any remorse or anything like that. It was all an experience that we wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise, you know, if we didn't take the chance and farm the land. So, do we regret it? I mean, do we regret, you know, building something amazing on somebody else's land and then losing out? No, actually. I mean, we didn't really lose out per se. We had that chance. We had the whole season there, and we did amazing things. We grew delicious food. We had pigs for the first time, which we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And we were able to witness and partake in, you know, something as beautiful as an animal giving birth on the farm.
That's good.
Look at those little babies. Aw, big yawn. Take that chance, we wouldn't have experienced any of that, and we wouldn't have connected with that land. Once the landowners moved back to their property and, you know, seeing Pinky in the barn there, they decided that they wanted to keep her. And they did, and they found her a partner, and she is still happily living up the road. Hey, girlfriend. Hey, Pinky. How's it going? How's it going, Pinky girl? Good girl. Are you happy or what? You must be so happy. Hi, Stuart. Stuart is Pinky's new friend. So we still have that connection there up the road with our new neighbors, you know, the owners of the land. I mean, we wouldn't have had that if we weren't there in the first place, if we never tilled that soil and planted seeds, you know, if we never put animals on it. And I think for me, the most obvious reason why I wanted to do this is because it's kind of my idea of fun. I mean, I know it's a lot of hard work to take care of animals and gardens and everything like that, but it is so much fun. It is one of the biggest adventures that I've ever been on in my life, and I spent my entire 20s pretty much, you know, backpacking around Canada, trying to discover what it is that I wanted to do. The more that I visited people who, you know, had their own gardens and raised their own animals, the more that I realized that, you know what, I think homesteading is a thing that I want to do. Never really foreseen it being a possibility, especially in a place like this where, you know, land costs are extremely expensive. But I moved here anyways because this is where I wanted to be. And lo and behold, I mean, we don't own any land, but we are currently farming approximately a total of approximately 5 acres right now. We're helping our neighbor next to us on the other side build a greenhouse, which we will be also utilizing in the spring. I mean, this is just great. This is amazing. I feel really, really good. And that's pretty much, you know, what this is all about. why did we decide to do a YouTube channel about it? I mean, that's a whole other thing on its own. I was really reluctant to do a YouTube channel. I don't like sitting in front of a camera. I definitely don't like, you know, the sound of my voice and all those reasons why people don't like recording themselves. But I really feel that it is important to share what it is that we're doing, mostly to inspire other people, you know, to realize that you don't need to have a whole lot of money. You do not need to own land to homestead at all. Clearly we're doing it. It's our 4th year and we're doing it, and we don't own any of it. You know, it just takes a little bit of hard work and persistence and getting to know your neighbors and really knowing what it is that you want to do so that you can present that to others and be like, hey, why don't we do this together? You know, why don't we grow food? Really, it's definitely possible. I mean, we're doing it, aren't we? And that means that you can too. Right, my boys? Isn't that right? Okay, no, don't eat my book. No, it's not a snack. It's not a snack. Okay. Good place. So, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That is why we homestead, you know, because we can, because we love it, because we love fresh food, and because it's really, really fun. Obviously, I mean, we're not the only ones. This is actually a compilation video with quite a few other channels, and they're answering the same question. Why do we homestead? Why do we do this? Are you ready, my friend? We're gonna go on a big adventure. So I invite you to check out the links in the description below. We've got Daniel Rizza. They're a relatively new channel, and right now they're prepping for pigs. So that's really cool to see. Adam's Adventures in Self-Sufficient Living. And they are, you know, just experiencing getting back to the land, and right now they're micro farming, kind of like how we started out here. That's really awesome. Tika Farm, they started in New York City and they wanted to fulfill their dreams of being farmers, and so they moved to North Carolina? Yeah, North Carolina. It's a beautiful place. Awesome. And then there's homesteading in Idaho. I mean, they hunt, they forage, they're raising livestock. That's really awesome, so check them out too. Basic Lady 101, beautiful urban homestead. Her garden is just gorgeous, so take a look at that. Last but not least, Freedom Foods Farm. They're turning their hobby into a career. They moved from California to Texas to do this sort of thing, and it looks like they're doing really well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know, if you want to see more of what we're doing, both here on our itty bitty little homestead and up the hill on the acreage, please do subscribe. It's definitely going to be an interesting season. Farmers market's coming up soon. And some jelly and some eggs. Summer's coming, you know, things are coming out of the ground, and we're looking forward to getting pigs again. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching. Take care.